Good evening. Welcome to the 5-8, where we discuss each of the week's 5 most fucked up topics for 8 minutes. 8 minutes, 5 topics, 2 hosts, a guest, some singing, a lot of curse words, and as many cocktails as we deem necessary. LB, how are you?
I'm okay. You know?
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm tired. You know, I think I'm looking at the comments and everyone's
Weary.
like, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. I'm
We're
exhausted.
weary.
I'm exhausted.
We're weary.
I think as a society, we're exhausted.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
I was just sending our friend Chunk a text because I'm excited about.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
It's a good one, everyone. We've got some nice stuff for you tonight.
We do.
Yeah,
we do, because it's been a week. It's been a dark week.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
Just a lot of really dark things, and
yeah,
we're gonna try to make it not so dark. That's gonna be what we're gonna do.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So should we get to it? What do we want to do? I got no jokes up front. I got nothing.
You got nothing? Oh, that means I'm supposed to put the timer on. Okay.
Yeah, I do have one joke, and Donald Trump. That's the joke. I was, we were talking in the pre-show production meeting about like, what are we going to talk about with this guy? There's this, and I went back. It's September 12th. We're not even that far into September. Okay.
I know.
In the last 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, here are all the things that have happened. Okay. I try to keep them in order, but I have no more semblance of order. All right.
Okay. All right.
So it was 2 weeks ago that we all thought he was dead. Okay. Remember, there was the weekend. Yeah. The weekend that we all thought he was dead, and we all got very happy. And my wife's birthday is September 2nd, and I was like, something might be happening on your birthday here. I don't know. Yes. And then literally, Ivanka Trump on her Instagram story on that day posts this. Which I'm like, that's an interesting image to share when your dad maybe is dying. I don't know if I don't know what that means. I mean, she often, kind of creates this alternate reality there.
Right.
Then, okay, so now it's a whole weekend where we think maybe he's dead. Then he comes out, he does the proof of life by like shuffling over, saying War Department, and some other thing.
War Department.
And they're moving the thing to Alabama, and then he does like this, and he shuffles off, like, and it doesn't really look great for him.
Yeah.
And then, there's other things that happen. There's an Oval Office video that apparently has been AI modified with the hands and the thing, which is a little bit freaky. There's the birthday book, the Epstein birthday book, and all of the denials. That's all fake. That didn't happen. Well, no, that's real, but it's not my signature. I didn't write that. Whatever. We have all of that. He simps for Putin. Poland happens. The drones, and Trump immediately is like, well, it's probably just a mistake. He's just covering up for his buddy there, Putin. He goes out to dinner and he gets accosted by the Code Pink. He goes out to dinner in DC to prove that it's safe. And apparently this restaurant is like 25 steps away from which doesn't, if you've seen the video of him walking, he's very, very careful in how he walks.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's unsure of his walk. And he goes in there, and then
the walk is at half-mast. The walk is at half-mast.
The walk is at half-mast. They're yelling at him that he's the Hitler of our age. And then the assassination happened, which is obviously bad. They question him about that, and he comes out with this statement in the immediate aftermath of it. Those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like him to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will fine each and every one of those who contributed to this, blah, 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 blah. Very, very big, broad mandate. Broad mandate to arrest all manner of people like us. And then, and on the right, as you pointed out, and other people, I'm sharing this from a thing I found online, all of these various groups saying it's war, it's civil war. We have to, the Democrats are a terrorist organization. Elon Musk, we have to fight or die. And I'm like, fight or die? Elon Musk is the guy that chickened out going into the octagon with Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh, that's right.
Fight or die. Okay.
Yeah.
Then they question him about it. Oh, you were close to this guy who just died. You must feel terrible. And he says, oh my God, yes. Look, the ballroom is being built right over there. And
look over. He literally did a look over there.
Yeah, like he didn't even answer the question. Like he has no, apparent.
No, he said, "I'm doing okay. Yeah, I'm doing good."
Yeah,
yeah. Look at the trucks.
Fine.
Trucks.
Not at the 9/11 event. He looked like he had a stroke. And then he went to the Yankees
someone said,
game.
face at half mast. We have a leg at half mast and a face at half mast.
So all of these things happen in just 2 weeks of time. So, and this is sort of the theme of the show here. There's so much stuff that we've packed into this very short period of time that it's like, is it all going to explode? I get explode and implode mixed up. I don't know if you push everything together, if it explodes or implodes. I'm not really sure. But what do you make of all this? What's your theory about all this, especially this week as it goes into the Nazi stuff?
Yeah. So first thing is, we're not going to be afraid of calling a man who had Hitler's speeches by his bedside per his now dead first wife that he buried in the rough and can't bother to mow her. So I don't have any problem. This guy is, he's a joke. He's a joke.
Mm-hmm.
He's a joke.
Yeah.
Is he as serious as the Nazis? Well, every single expert on that era seems to be pointing to the parallels. And certainly there's a playbook right there ready to follow. I think the people in the restaurant calling him, what did they call him? Hitler.
The Hitler of our age or of our time.
The Hitler of our time, to have that be chanted at him. That's for someone like a groyper like Donald to be picked at like that. And like, especially in public, the ego bruising, the narcissistic injury there, it didn't leave him. He couldn't stop thinking about it. So that thing you read right there, that was his response, right, to Charlie. And then he did the video and he talked about the assassination, pointing fingers at the left. But what was he talking about? What was he focused on? He was focused on that word Nazi because he just heard it.
Yeah.
And he's going to do retribution. So he's appropriating the grief and trauma of Americans, of this man's family, right? Of the people the young adults who were there at that event, traumatized by the event. I saw a lot of emotional appropriation from a lot of people. I was watching all this really carefully. Things hit me a little differently, as you know, and some of our audience know. And I'm not trying to do a play on words there. It just, when you're in that godforsaken club of having lost a loved one to a bullet, to somebody else's either hatred or criminality or just vileness, antisocial violence that lands on your loved one and takes their life, innocent life, right? It all this kind of stuff, I just stayed quiet and I just watched it all. I watched what people were doing and how they handled themselves and tried to assess what's going on. And so what I saw was a lot of appropriation, and I saw the president of the United States leading that charge. Clearly, he's not upset. He went to the Yankee game the next day because he's still in his brain feeling that rejection, that social rejection, right? So he's got to go to the Yankees. They play YMCA for him. Even if he's getting booze, there's also some cheers. He gets to do his little, double jerk off dance. He was celebrating. Then he goes into the locker room. Hey, I got backstage. I didn't need Jeffrey Epstein anymore to get me into the clubs and hang out with the cool people. I got into the locker room with the Yankees all by myself. And he's holding court and they're showering attention on him. And he's feeling like, oh, okay, I am an A-lister. I got my A-list back. I got my status back. I am a lead. I am back in the rarefied air. It's like the vapors this guy had that he had to overcome while this event happened to someone who really helped him get into office, Like, I can't even imagine a more fervent supporter and loyalist had just been assassinated. Is a wife and small children. The children are going to someday, God forbid, have to deal with that video, that image, that footage that we all accidentally saw. And this guy's like, take me out to the ball game, baby. Look at my ballroom. Look at that over there. Yeah, Charlie. Oh, yeah, whatever his name was. Yeah. Look at my ballroom. Yeah, that's who he is. That's what's going on there. This is a horrible thing that happened, but imagine a massive catastrophe, some kind of national security thing that is affecting a large swath of America or something, a bomb going, something, imagine something to negotiate, war, right around us, something. And that's the leadership in that moment from this clown, is he can't stop thinking about those people in that restaurant.
Yeah. Yep. And I know, like, I don't like when people do this, but if this happened when Biden was president, the response that Biden would give to this thing would be, I mean, completely 180 from that.
Yeah.
A man who is compassionate and knows how to express himself appropriately.
Yeah.
Especially in times of grief.
In times of grief.
Yeah. Trump is incapable of that.
He's
incapable of empathy.
He doesn't know what it is. Go mow your dead wife. There.
Moving
just to
on.
prove the point. The lack of grace, the lack of anything other than self-serving whatever.
Yeah.
What an embarrassment. What a joke. What a joke this man is.
Yeah. He is.
Yeah. And we're not afraid of you. Fuck off. How about that?
Well,
Nazi.
We've certainly called them Nazis a lot. I mean, whatever. We're not calling them Nazis to be cute. We're calling them Nazis because there's a million parallels from 1933 Germany to now.
Yeah.
And Trump is going
because
along.
Because J.D. Vance called him a Nazi. Because RFK Jr. called him a Nazi.
Right.
We're just listening to your vice president and your secretary of health.
Yeah.
How about that? You're the leader of your Maha movement. Called you a Nazi, dude. Fire them.
Maha to Trump stands for Make America Hitler Again, I think. I don't know. Something like that. All right.
Somebody just posted she was tree-mated. I've never seen that
that's
before.
Good. That's
Instead
good.
of cremated about Ivana.
That's
okay,
good.
yeah, moving on.
All right, hit the timer. Hit the timer.
Okay.
We'll hit this quick. We'll try not to do the whole.
So don't worry about us. We did get a lot of concern, everybody, when don't worry about us. We're okay. We're not freaking out. We're okay. Don't freak out. It's okay. Yeah. That's what I want to say to our audience. If you're new to us, I want to say, join and subscribe.
Yeah.
We're happy to have you. Yeah. All right, here we go. 8 minutes.
So this whole birthday book thing happens. And what this is, for people that don't know, we just need to set the stage here. So Jeffrey Epstein, I think, is born in 53. With 2003 turns 50 years old. And Ghislaine, his best friend / whatever she is, partner in crime, decides to put together a thing where she gets all, which is actually what people do when at these big events, goes around to all of his friends or whoever they are and asks them to contribute something, which she then binds into these. It's actually a 3-volume, like leather-bound book.
Oh, it's 3 volumes.
Yes, I believe it's 3 volumes. There's a lot of
important he was.
And so you go through this, and there's little, there's pictures from when he was a kid. There's reminiscences about this and that. But, the Trump thing is basically a picture of a doodle of a, I don't know what, 13-year-old girl where his signature is in the pubic area.
Yeah.
And then he has this weird cryptic poem where he uses the word enigma being an anagram of gamine, which means young girl.
Yeah.
Then he's denying it. And then he's, he has his idiot press secretary say, well, that's not his signature. His signature is very famous. We all know that that's not it. And we're like, no, it's famous. And we do know that that's it, you dumbass. So like, And then
He signed a lot of autographs at that very same time period. And there's a lot of evidence out there.
Like, why wouldn't it be him? Like, it was 22 years ago. No one knew what was going to happen. He's good friends with the guy. Of course, Ghislaine's going to ask him for something. And of course, is Donald Trump going to be like, no, I don't want my name to be in that thing. No, he's going to put me in there. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. But the thing that I wanted to really highlight is this. This was in the birthday book. And I've been posting this. I have it in my Epstein piece, but I want everybody to really take a good look at it. I don't even know who drew this, but as you see, sort of on the left,
this was a GOP guy, I think. I'm sorry to say that, but I believe it was. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
And a funder. This was. I'll look that up.
Okay.
So I don't say the wrong thing.
It's almost irrelevant. Like on the left, you have Epstein like giving balloons to
at Coney Island, right?
Girls.
Yeah. Back when he was like before, see the tattered jeans. He had his own mythology about himself, and
And then 20 years later, what a great country! He's being massaged by 4 girls, including one with a heart tattoo on her ass. But the key thing is you've got 2 things in the background. You've got the plane, which is the Lolita Express.
Yep, with the right tail sign, I think, possibly.
Yeah, I think it is. And then that's Mar-a-Lago.
That is Mar-a-Lago.
That's Mar-a-fucking-Lago. So here's a guy that makes this picture that isn't Donald Trump, but he could set this anywhere. He could set it in the mansion. He could set it where, no, it's at Mar-a-Lago that this is happening. What a great country that I can go to my friend's house, Mar-a-Lago, and have this happen to me. So to me, this picture, I mean, the whole book, if you go through and look at it, is super telling. I mean, there's no way you come away with
this was his culture with the people around him. He cultivated the kind of relationship, especially with these men, that he wanted, where everything was salacious and filthy, and Melania's locker room talk. No wonder she knows so much about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's their way of, it's those goobers' way of bonding with one another, is to be lewd and crass and, protect one another. Apparently, we're in a protection racket here.
Well, it must be, because there's, we've really, I mean, this has been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time forget about when it started, even when the police started to get involved and investigate the guy. That was a long time ago. Yeah. And how many people have come forward? I mean, the survivors had that event, which we talked about. There are people there I didn't know about. I'd never heard of before.
Yeah.
And some of them had come forward before. I just hadn't heard. I mean, there's so many of them. The sheer volume and number of people that were abused by these men and Ghislaine is staggering. And this is the guy who is running the country now, that we've entrusted with that. The guy doing the double jerk off dance at Yankee Stadium. And that the Yankees led in the freaking locker room. Yeah. It's the whole thing is just a disgrace.
It is a disgrace. I want to say one thing about the birthday book. I tweeted this, and it's just sort of my take. So again, this is my take. This is what I saw immediately in the repetitiveness of this sort of people articulating a scene, drawing a scene, writing a scene. But it seemed like that. I was like, oh, and then Donald Trump literally doing a scene of the scene. And his defense being, I don't talk like that. Well, actually, yeah, I think you do. I think that's how you talk when you're trying to be creative. It's an artless piece of shit, a little short, you can't even, there's nothing interesting about it. There's nothing clever about it. As much as they might think the Gamine thing, Enigma, is clever, Donald might think that. With Jeffrey, they have maybe this inside joke. It's not, it's so artless and so bad and so desperate to sound like I'm the guy who can just write a movie scene because I'm in TVs and movies, right? It's got that. It's so in that vibe. And so what I bet again happened was Ghislaine sent out a request to everybody, and in that request was, you know, give a drawing, take a picture, send a pic, or you know, give us a scene from something. She probably used the word scene in this sort of, as we all get these things, these submissions that people want us to do. And he just was like, oh, I'll write a scene because I can write, you know, because then nothing was more important to him than being the film and TV guy. This was what, 2003, this book?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
January 2003. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, you know, I can see that whole thing just unfolding exactly like that, but I don't see that man typing anything up. I think he could have said that, but he wouldn't dare go there because that means there's somebody that typed that for him. That somebody, probably Ronna Graff, who was his longtime assistant, executive assistant, and she's still alive. So maybe somebody should go and ask Ronna, did you type up Donald's little movie scene that he was trying to be so cute?
Yeah.
Do you remember doing this? And then boom, she types it up in front of him. Or maybe Ivana was taking a screenwriting class. I mean, something like that. Or Ivanka puts it in front of him and he draws around it and thinks, oh, you know,
I'm so cool.
He's so cool.
Clever. Yeah.
I got the backstage pass.
That's it. I think that's good timing. But we're going to keep talking. We're going to keep talking about this guy. We're not going to, you know, we're not going to let it go at all. We're going to keep talking about it, and we're going to keep singing about it.
Yeah. We'll see.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking?
The president did not write this letter. He did not sign this letter. And that's why the president's external legal team is aggressively pursuing litigation against the Wall Street Journal.
You don't want to talk about it, but every survivor's got a story to tell. Everyone knew about it, from the Queen of England to Jean-Luc Brunel. So you can say it's not your signature, but Donald, we all know Jeffrey and the girls in that drawing were at Mar-a-Lago. And what we gather from the birthday book is you're a pedo. You're a pedo. You're a pedo. You're a pedo.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
So
good job, Chunk. Yeah.
Amazing. I love it so much.
Don't even need to change the words that much, you know.
No, I know. You came up with this idea quite a while back, and it just took a bit to kind of.
Because he says Queen of England in it, and it's like,
yeah, he says Queen.
I think the Queen of England did know. Yeah, she literally did know.
I just want to say, people are putting in the chat that she is the widow of this man who assassinated was making a statement right now. So if you guys want to keep us up on that, it's hard for us to watch that and do the show. But if you can get the two screens going or somehow check in, I'll try to keep my eye on the comments and see how that's going. This is happening at the same time right now.
We can do that, you know. It's fun.
Yeah.
Or just watch it later.
Yeah.
So our guest will be very familiar to everyone because she's been on the show before, and we watch her on Wednesdays. She's the executive director of Equality Florida. She's the host of Wide Awake America and the co-host of the 5, 8 and a half Wednesday. Nadine Smith.
Nadine Smith.
I'm back.
Yay.
Fantastic. I'm fantastic, oddly enough. And I'm drinking, as I promised, the mead.
Oh, good. Yes.
Homemade mead.
Nice.
Is it good?
Yeah, my first batch. It is good. It is good.
It's like treacly. Is it like treacly sweet?
No. It's very mild, and I made it at a ancestral skills event, and It hasn't killed me.
You.
So, yeah.
I think meat is
Always
what
doing
they serve
something.
at Valhalla. You know,
Oh God.
Nice segue.
Nice segue.
Yeah,
I
good.
was texting you something beforehand, Greg. Hi Nadine. Hi Nadine.
Hey there.
About we were reminded on Twitter from Jim that the I'll see you in Valhalla was what the HN New Zealand killer wrote. So of course Kash Patel, he's in his memes, loves his memes. He's in Drowning and all that stuff anyway. And his clicks and all of that. That hasn't stopped clearly for this podcaster turned head of the FBI.
I love that in the New York Times article about how he sucks, they actually call him a former podcaster. That was like,
well, that's what,
of him,
like, that's what
you
he
know?
was. Then he was
And
head of the
now
FBI. Yeah. So anyway, he doesn't have enough sense to not do that. Or maybe that's the whole point. They're afraid of losing that groyper part of the base, which is so important, right? Those young Nazis. And also now really clear about the fracture between the sort of turning point, you know, the Christian nationalists that are very serious about that and the family and having the family, and then the groypers who are just like the weirdos, right, that are out there from the internet. That war that they had been talking about and labeled themselves, that had been going on for 8 years. That maybe that would have that had a dangerous endpoint, and we all watched it.
yeah, we watched it. Now, we haven't really talked about what we're going to talk about. So what we want to do, because we're thinking there's just like in the first segment where there's so many weird things that Trump has done in the last 2 weeks. There are so many things that are happening right now that are new and sort of ominous in so many different. So we were trying to make a list of them. And LB sent a text that was like 25 pages long about all these like things that we were jotting down. So what I thought we would do, knowing you were coming on, is I sort of organize them, because I would try to rattle them off, but there are too many to rattle off. So what I would like to do is play a little game. And here, we're going to play like mini Jeopardy here. So the categories are U.S. under occupation, foreign affairs, health, culture wars, deep state, and the economy. Nadine, you're our guest, so you have first choice.
Oh, wow.
And I'm gonna.
Do I have to answer in the form of a question, or can I?
You do not. You do.
No, just pick a category.
I'm going to read the things that I have written down under the category, and then you can talk about whatever you want.
All right, I'll go with culture war for 500.
Okay. No, daily doubles the next segment. Okay. Culture war. We have the groypers versus the other right wing turning point people. We have the Ashley Babbitt, making her into a hero, which sort of dovetails with the J6, the turning on its face and making the J6 people some sort of heroes. We have the martyrdom of the dearly departed man whose wife is speaking now. We have Trump and his war on art and all that kind of stuff. We have media as entertainment, not the job of media. There's a lot of other things too. This is hardly an exhaustive.
Yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and I'll take the first category. I'll go with the groypers versus turning point.
Okay, good.
Well, I mean, one of the things that that is fascinating to me, I was putting a thread, or what do you call it, on X, and it crashed before I could, and it felt like maybe it wasn't by accident. But in Florida and in other places, they are gathering the names of anybody who has said anything negative about Charlie Kirk in order to take their jobs. I believe there's a school teacher in Florida who posted something that was sort of like live by the sword, die by the sword. They're going after her job. And, all of these tributes to Charlie Kirk have been, he was a free speech warrior. And what I was writing was, so your tribute to him, this person you call a free speech warrior, is to censor and cost people their livelihoods for speaking out And you have done more to dishonor that aspect that you hold up than any online trolling could possibly. And to my way of thinking, I am sorry that Charlie Kirk is dead. I am sorry he's dead because his ideas were losing. Every place that he was speaking, he had a vocal but small group of people. But if you look up the polling, the more people knew him, the more young people heard him, the less they were enamored in what they heard. We were beating these ideas, and his death, not only does it have this horrific impact on the political arena, but it makes it harder to challenge those horrible ideas as they bundle him into this idea of martyrdom. But the second thing that I said, I have a hard time believing that somebody who can fire a bullet with that precision from 2 football fields away, blend in with the largely white campus, and cool as a cucumber, whisk themselves away, like a trained operator, was going to be some angry person from the left. Everything about this was that the usual suspect is sort of like, yes, it's going to be a young white guy with a right-wing political agenda. Not because I'm really smart, but because you better bet your last dollar every single time that that's who it's going to be. And those same lawmakers and all of these folks who were swift to be online saying, this is the beginning of civil war. They've gone too far now. They've pushed us past the brink. Suddenly, I think it was Nancy Mace that was like, bring back the death penalty. And then when they find out it's a white guy, sheriff's son, right winger, I'm going to pray for him just like Charlie Kirk would want us to pray for this lost soul. And so, it's, there were 0.0007% of the avalanche of mass shooters in America are trans, and they are seriously having a conversation about banning trans people from having guns. So much so that the NRA put out a statement saying, no, we won't let that happen, only because they care about the slippery slope. But you can bet the house almost every single time that it's going to be a young white guy radicalized online into some right-wing ideology. And now that it's the groypers versus Turning Point, the MAGA monster keeps consuming itself, and they cannot control, the Never Trumpers were just people who helped build, they helped build the monster and then couldn't control it anymore. And then they became Never Trumpers, and they'll be the next wave of people who can't control the monster they've built. But that is where we are. And I think every single one of these politicians who is scrubbing their feed right now to pretend they never said these things. My congresswoman, Anna Paulina, was out there putting out the baseless idea that there were pro-trans messages inscribed on the bullets.
Yeah.
No, not true at all. She ran with it. She didn't wait for any verification. But as soon as they find out that it's, as the governor of Utah said, oh, I was praying it wasn't going to be one of us. I wanted it to be somebody from who drove here from somewhere else. I wanted it to be someone who came here from somewhere else. No, it was one of you. And but just when they thought it wasn't one of them, it was, this is war. This is, bring back the death penalty. And now it's, oh, those schools. I bet that was a good kid till he went off to college. Got all those crazy ideas.
He was there for a semester.
A semester at a mechanical, and learn to
one semester at school. You don't even know where the other bathroom in the building is. Come on, you're going to be indoctrinated. It's so ridiculous. So ridiculous.
But as soon as they find out that, nope, it's one of us. It's lone wolf, troubled, teen. But when they thought it was somebody from the left, and by the way, everyone look up the statistics on who's just pick the last 10 years. It is overwhelmingly, almost to a vanishing number of people on the left committing violence, it is overwhelmingly white right-wingers in the name of this ideology, over and over and over again. But there is a website that is dedicated to allowing you, and 20,000 submissions have been sent to this. Let me see if I can find it. But it is a website by the so-called free speech folks where it tells people to expose Charlie's murderers, is the headlines, charliesmurderers.com. And they have 20,000 submissions. They're asking people, if you see anybody making fun, making light of this this murder, I won't call it an assassination, this murder, post it here so we can go after their job. Post it here so we can go get them. That's how you're going to honor somebody that you said their greatest trait was that they were free speech absolutists who would go to college campuses and say, change my mind, and be willing to debate anybody on any ground. So I say we should honor Charlie Kirk. We should honor Charlie Kirk by using our First Amendment right, challenging his ideas and the ideas espoused by anyone like him. And I think finally, just a few days before he was murdered, he was out there being one of the people, one of the Trump loyalists, calling for the full release of the Epstein files.
Yes, he was.
So much so that Laura Loomer got on, she posted the day before he was murdered that he had betrayed Trump. He was no longer, he was a traitor to their cause. And, she put a full screed.
Called him fascist, right?
What's that?
Yeah.
And then, took it down after he was killed. There is more evidence that she called a hit on him than any of this left-wing conspiracy theory stuff that they were spewing the moment this happened. And so I think the final tribute to Charlie Kirk is to debate his ideas and continue to debunk them, and to be even more vociferous in calling for the release of the Epstein files.
Well said.
Amen.
Meet up.
I have no notes. I feel like we practiced this so well.
Yeah.
There's no
okay. Put the thing back up.
Okay. Okay.
I want to play the game.
There we go. Your pick.
Okay. U.S. under occupation.
Foreign affairs. Health.
What do you
state.
mean by deep state?
I'm going to tell you if you pick it.
I'll take deep state.
Okay. Deep state. Make Jeopardy noise. Okay. Deep state means the bureaucracy, which is under attack. You got the DOJ. You got the FBI. You have FEMA. You have NOAA. You have the CDC and the NIH. You have the U.S. Postal Service. And God knows how many, a million other things besides. USAID. Take your pick. I'm
going to take FBI.
Okay.
For because we'll stay on this theme, this topic. I want 2,000. I'm in double jeopardy. We're not there.
No.
500.
Okay, fine.
Okay, I barely know how to play Jeopardy.
You're so competitive, LB.
I love it. 2,000. Yeah. The FBI. So I do think everybody's getting a real heavy dose of what it is to have to live with this level of childish incompetency and just reckless agenda, violent in many ways, of these clowns. Like this is that I was driving, like, so the news of the murder, I agree. Thank you, Nadine. We call it a murder. The news of the murder, I'm driving. I have not great cell. I'm coming out of the mountains and coming back. So we're getting this news. Greg, I think, was the one, or another friend. And then it was like, well, what's happening? Is he, what's going on? And then, okay, yep, he didn't make it. And so I was in an area where I could listen to the live press conference from law enforcement that was showing up. So I only heard it. I only heard these people's voices, and I was trying to distinguish, I didn't get to see the pimply faced 22-year-old or 23-year-old or whoever he is that's now head of counterintelligence, because they had to get rid of the woman because she must have been a DEI hire, or maybe, who knows. So out she had to go, would have had a wealth of experience running that, being there and communicating with the field office, and trying to do the job of the FBI in this very public murder in a big venue with the killer gone. So we didn't have her expertise. We didn't have her leadership. We didn't have her wisdom. We had a clown, a child, right? And then you have Kash Patel tweeting or Xing or whatever. We have the killer in custody. And then someone steps on the dais. Nope, we don't have him, And it was just like this. I was so outraged by that, we was still sort of like reeling from the information and what has just happened and But then that crystallized everything for me, that absolute shit show that I listened to, and I haven't even bothered to watch it because I can't, with the emotive too, the immature emotion, the appropriation of grief and trauma from law enforcement. That was all that was being talked about. And the governor, the leadership of coming out and scolding everybody like a preacher from a pulpit of like, you better not say, you need to look in the mirror, you can't do this. And it's like, oh my God, there's just been a public murder with all these students. It's all over the place. It's this prominent individual. The assassin's gone. Is there what kind of information can you give us? And it took me again into my very personal experience, because I'll tell you what you want to have happen to. We want this as a nation. We want the best professionals in these positions, in these state positions, whether it's the weather service, because, well, here's FEMA, right? And there's been a disaster. We decided as a nation that we're going to be in a society, we're going to be in there together, we're fellow civilians. If there's an act of God that we can't even control, some kind of natural disaster that devastates us, we want, because we're paying these tax dollars and because we formed a federal government, that is a very important thing. We want the federal government to be there for us, because nobody can, it's our land. We're defined as citizens because we were born in this land, and that land might have a flood, might have a fire, might have an earthquake or a hurricane. There might be a natural disaster in the natural land that we occupy that actually helps define us as citizens. And so for the privilege of being part of this land and sharing this land with one another, we're going to have this federal government that's going to help us establish laws, but also be there for us with acts of God that are happening because we live here. We're not over in the Mediterranean. We're here and there's a fucking flood. Okay? That's the logic and the thinking and the rational and the maturity behind something like FEMA. Law enforcement, federal, the FBI, same damn thing. The Department of Justice, we have laws. There are crimes that happen. We need serious people in these positions to help keep our society safe so that innocent people, if they are murdered, there's a process by which, we can actually bring justice for that family, because there are people connected to that individual that were murdered, that are his wife, that are his sister, his parents, his children. And they deserve, and I'm sure speaking tonight, I have no idea what this widow is saying, but I can just tell you, if for me in that moment and the people I love in that moment, what you need are answers. And my particular loss, I could have, someone pointed out to me today, it's like, really admire that you didn't go because of the circumstances of his murder, who killed him, how random it was. He was in the street, he was innocent, and the setting. I could have weaponized this and politicized it, whatever, but you don't do that when it's happening. That's not the experience. Even if I had a proclivity to that, you don't want any of that. You're like, just please, who did this? How did this happen? You're flying out into the universe, into the abyss, and you're just looking for something to hold on to that's facts and stability and to bring you back into reality and let you get through the next fucking moment with some information that's helpful. And that's what you turn to law enforcement for. That's what they're supposed to be there and doing, not talking about it as if it's their own trauma and grief. And then having these stories of what we have him. Nope, we don't have him. What do we do? We don't know. What do we know? Who's this kid? I don't know. He's been here for 2 weeks. Okay. Oh my God. No. So bad. So bad. Every US citizen, anybody here, anybody in the United States, if a crime like that happens to you and your family member, you deserve so much better than that. My God. And then for them to put themselves out. I never hear helicopters here. This is so strange. For them to put themselves out as if this was their friend and loved one.
Yeah.
Because it was maybe they knew him or someone they admired. It was happening to them. But also, if he was, you do your job. Show up and do your job. Be really professional. Because that's what the family needs. That's what all those students who watched that happen and are traumatized by that, that's what they need. It's their trauma. It's not yours.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
So I hope that's not too
it's good. We
personal
need
or whatever, but this is what it will boil down to a personal level for every single person, the destruction of these agencies. Something's going to happen and you're going to need the best of the best in those positions of the federal government to help you. And you're not going to have it. You're going to get welcome to Valhalla. See you in Valhalla. You're going to get memes.
Oh God.
You're going to get memes.
You're going to get memes. You're going to get memes. Thank you for sharing all of that. Cause I know but it's good. It's good to hear that perspective because it's true. You know, we need the government to function. The idea that the government is bad and that they're not there to help you, this Reagan idea is so bad. It's insidious. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to the Jeopardy tiles.
Jeopardy.
Nadine.
Hey, Greg, your turn.
Okay. Or are you taking a turn? Okay.
Yep.
I'm ready.
Nadine, go Nadine.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Oh, okay. U.S. under occupation.
Okay. U.S. under occupation. Whatever. It does the thing where it spins. And here we are. Okay. I've lost track of which armed forces are where. So forgive me if I get it wrong a little bit. You have ICE, all this stuff going on in Chicago, which Trump has been, talking about a lot. And Pritzker and the mayor of Chicago have been, to their credit, stepping up and resisting. You have this idea of sending troops to Memphis now, which is dangerous, especially because it's a blue city in a red state. There's still people in D.C. Fortunately, Trump was able to go to dinner across the street from the White House safely, other than the people that were there yelling at him, and he almost tripped. You have the historically Black colleges and universities on lockdown because of this thing that happened, where the right wing were sort of the murder of the woman on the train, how that's been weaponized. You have the Kavanaugh decision, which Brett Kavanaugh, that makes it now it's okay for these basically stormtroopers to just grab whoever they want based on how they look or sound or what language they speak or whatever whim these guys have. I'm probably missing something, but you get the point.
Yeah. No, I'll go with the Chicago DC invading forces one. In part because I think that what we're seeing in Illinois, what we're seeing with some of the blue state governors and big city mayors is something that we have to praise and emulate. I mean, to some degree, not completely, but Trump backed down on his highly publicized threat to send the National Guard to Chicago. And the solidarity and the clarity with which Pritzker and other Chicago officials, really laid out how they were going to mobilize to protect their people. And I think one of the things that you see emerging in Chicago and in DC and in LA has been this new kind of solidarity at the grassroots level. And there's so many of these stories of, ICE and showing up to arrest people on a job site and the neighborhood forcing them out. And I've said it before, like white women putting Mexican flags on their cars to bait ICE into following them so they can waste their time. But you see people who never thought that they would be stepping into this kind of space. They are creating a solidarity across lines that they don't get. A lot of these in DC, for example, there's a big veterans presence, and they've been playing General Milley's, you don't serve a king, you serve the people. I mean, they playing it nonstop, but really having conversations with these guys on the street, and they don't want to be there. And they don't understand why they're there. And they don't agree with why they're there. And these conversations matter because when that illegal order comes, the lethal illegal order comes, then it's just gut check time on your humanity. And so all of these interactions where they know they're wrong, and I'm seeing more of it. I went to the Air Force Academy out of high school and have stayed in touch with classmates who are in the military, and you see the crisis of conscience that a lot of people are grappling with. And it may feel like too little right now, but these are the seeds that we have to plant. And while mockery is an important part of anti-fascism, it is mockery aimed at the highest levels of that structure, not at the lowest levels of that structure. Because there are a lot of people taking ICE jobs because ICE is rolling in money right now and the economy stinks. And if you're at the bottom end of that economy, it's getting worse. And if you're at the top end of the economy, it's getting much, much better for you. The stock market's going to soar. Your crypto bag is going to, be filled. And if you're not in that part, so in the interest of, solidarity, we got to keep talking to the folks who are cogs in this machine, because when the moment comes, they're going to be in the best position to break it. And every movement has had to face this. We thought we might not have to because, posse comitatus and a different kind of ethos in this country, but we've seen it all over the place where soldiers end up in that critical moment putting down their guns or turning it on the people who sent them to suppress the people.
I mean, it took me a bit. Everything's so well said always, Nadine. It took me a bit. I skipped when you said, protect their people. And I've heard that, and I heard it from Pritzker of like, I will protect my people. But just the thought of that hits you of like, he's talking about protecting U.S. citizens from our own National Guard and law enforcement machine as sent to attack for retribution for Donald Trump. Like, he's literally talking about the president directing an attack on Americans in American cities. And the governors are having to say, I'm going to protect my people.
Yep.
Is an insane moment. I can't believe we're here. I really can't.
Yeah. But I'll tell you where he's not sending troops.
Dog walking back in my pocket.
Yeah, he's not sending the National Guard to Utah right now to quell this right-wing terrorist uprising. He's not sending them to the murder capitals of our country because those are red cities in red states.
Yeah.
So people are seeing what's happening, and we got to keep staying out there. We got to keep engaging, and we got to keep, every day I'm seeing more and more people who are, they're just kind of waking up. And when the moment does come where J.D. Vance seeks to seize power because the decline that we all see in Trump accelerates or comes to its inevitable end, that is going to be another one of those gut check moments, because anybody who was ensorcelled by the toxic charisma of Donald Trump Well, JD Vance didn't even have toxic charisma.
Yeah.
All he has is Peter Thiel's money. And
Yeah.
and the and so in those moments, someone who wouldn't break ranks because of what a sunk cost analysis of where they are right now, might they break free? So yeah, it isn't the sexiest work to continue to engage people, to continue. But I do know there was a guy who wrote a book. He was the guy who had
Hillbilly Elegy.
Oliver
Stop.
North's job before Oliver North, and he wrote a book, and it wasn't Steal This Book, but it was a book about America's manipulations in Central America.
Oh, the economic hitman book.
Well, and he said my roommate in college and I would have these deep debates, and I never conceded. But he wrote in the foreword of the book, it took me 20 years to realize you won all of those arguments. And so
there we go.
yeah, so that's part of it. We might not win the argument today, but at some point, somewhere in the consciousness, there's the information that we are laying out, and they will come to that moment.
I love it. I think
like
also if it's if discourse, just even talking to folks, as so how are you doing? Are you okay with this? And it doesn't even have to be deep, just like a one question, but genuine interest in brings down the bring down the temperature in a moment, even just half a degree, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because once people can start regulating themselves down.
I think you're talking about climate change, and that's I don't know how we feel about that. I don't think they feel about it, either.
Did you want one of these topics, Greg, for yourself, or do you want to move on?
Well, I think let's just, because here's what I would like to do now. Here, we didn't hit foreign affairs, but everybody kind of knows what's going on with the foreign affairs. There's the Poland and the drones and NATO and Gaza. It's a mess, and the United States is under Trump pulling away from our traditional allies and following after Putin, and like the little dog in that cartoon that's following. Gee, Spike, what are we going to do? Spike, help! But following these dictators along. That's what Trump is doing, and representing us, which is bad. And it's a sea change in how foreign affairs are. The health is a big thing between RFK and all of the horrible things that he's doing, and Nadine, as you alluded to, Donald Trump's own health, which means that actuarial tables are being what they are, and I mean he doesn't look well. I think it's safe for us to assume that he may not. And then abortion, the whole abortion issue, which is now way off the front page of the headlines, but remains a real problem in these red states for women, and it's disgraceful. And that's also a huge health issue. And then economy, the tariffs are fucking stupid. We know this. Unemployment is up. Inflation is up. Everything's super fucking expensive. Probably we're going to run out of shit right around the, Thanksgiving. All of this is bad. So the reason I wanted to do this exercise and sort of set it up this way is because it feels to me like there's so many different strands of this. There's so many different, data points, I guess. And they're all weird, and they're all kind of unprecedented, and they're all hitting at the same time. So I think what I want to know, and we'll talk about this will be like the fourth topic. Okay. And what I'm curious about from you guys is, where do you see it happening? Like, how do you see it all fitting together? Like it's clearly the fascism scholars are all like, oh, this is bad. If you need me, we'll be in Canada kind of thing. So we know that. We know that that's bad. And then, we know where that's going. But what's going on? What do you see not in the tea leaves, but just, how to connect the dots? So Nadine, why don't you start?
All right. An easy one.
Yeah.
You know what, though? I really do think that, because some of these guys have flipped from backing Democrats to backing Republicans as they got wealthier, which is not in itself surprising. But I really think what it comes down to is they've given up on the future. and what they, they're like, we're not going to stop climate change. We're not going to stop, the wealthy people from doing what they want to do. We're not going to, like, they've given up. And so for them, it's get rich, create their protective bubble. They don't care about democracy. Screw that. It's just their view of the future. What's the guy, Curtis Yarvin?
Yarvin.
They have this really dystopian techno future, sterile and, hellish in my view. And there's the rest of us going, no, there's still picnics and, falling asleep on the beach and making love in the afternoon. And there's still beauty in this world and we're ready to fight for it. And we actually think every time you guys give up on the future and you try to mow us down, we find each other in these, in the crevices that you can't reach because you can't imagine their existence. And so in a strange way, here in Florida, there's an awful lot of joy in this rebellion. We talk about it in terms of, the solemn, hard things where people are being hurt that require our attention and our empathy. And then there is what I call the Bugs Bunny energy, the complete disrespect, the Bronx cheer, you're going to wash away rainbow crosswalks and Black History Matters streets. Okay. Well, we got a trick for that. There's going to be 10 rainbows for everyone you get rid of. And we're going to start putting rainbows around potholes. You're going to fix the potholes or are you just going to come by and paint the rainbow? Are you going to do your actual job? And so people are getting really funny and defiant. And there's been some great, art that's come out of it and some great songs. And, we always talk about the music gets really good when the people start agitating. So, I say lean into that part of this time and be fearlessly disrespectful of fascism. And in that, there's a lot of joy. We are finding people that you're just finding people who never thought of themselves as political, never thought of themselves as organizers. But when they came with the paint to destroy the artwork, the street mural in Sarasota, a whole bunch of people who've never stood together before were standing there to the point that, the Department of Transportation and their paintbrushes packed up and went home and then snuck back in the middle of the night to do it. So, I'm saying let's have some fun in the midst of all of this. And let's use that to find each other and to build what we have to build to get the future that we deserve, not the dystopian one that they have sunk to.
Here.
In fact, this was our fifth topic, and yeah. I like that it's so in sync.
Yeah.
That it's coming. Yeah, without you being aware of that, you're speaking to this because there is so much hope there. There is going to be music, great. Baby. It's going to be great art that comes out of this. The other thing I want to say, in terms of the feeling of it all, Greg, to answer your question of what's it. There's all these things. It does feel like it's not just that the wheels are off the bus. It's not just a chaos presidency. It's this president we have now has created these silos of followers and these things, and the stakes inside of them for keeping those people engaged, entertained, loyal, focused, with having competing agendas as well, is so you can see it's starting to fall apart. So there's also hope in this, just the sort of collapse, and then he has his own health involved in it. He had the health thing, and as Nadine says, his own health. That's kind of, he's an old guy, he's an old cocker now, and he's got issues. He's got shit happening to him. It's like that, he can't quite. It's happening to him. Father Time is at work. Mother Nature is starting to come in there. And it's really complicated to the degree to where he's just sort of reducing himself to a toddler, But look at my trucks. Oh, Charlie Kirk. Yeah, but look at my ballroom. I'm building with trucks. He's a 3-year-old. He's a toddler, and they treat him as a toddler.
Mhm.
Well, that's unsustainable. It's more unsustainable now than it was before because of all those other things that are falling apart because the toddler can't handle it and the stakes are so high. So as scary as all of that is, as scary as the sort of national security threat inside of all that is, it's also, boy, there are no legs to that. It is just, it starts to, again, hit people personally. They're going to be looking, shit's going to start going down. We're going into down where you are, Nadine, heading into the hurricane, right?
Yeah.
We're in the middle of it, but we still got some left. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It has no legs, but has very, very small hands. Is the thing. That's the. But one of the things that we had talked about on the show a bunch of times, even before Trump came along in the second term, in the redux, as I call it, is this idea that there are fissures that are going to develop between these different factions within this party, because they all want different things. The Leonard Leo radical Catholic faction is different than the Turning Point faction a little bit, which is different clearly than the Groyper faction, as we've seen this week, which is different than the Elon Musk teal libertarian faction, which is different than there's a lot of, there's overlap, but they're different. And
Jeffrey
hammering
Epstein,
away,
we got to get the mothers, against the traffickers.
There's ways to get into these fissures and create, and I think, Nadine, that's part of what you were talking about with there's a joy in that. But it's interesting, like when you were talking, I was thinking, these guys who are nihilists, they're all nihilists. They don't believe in the future. And they're the ones that want immortality. It's the ones who hate life that want immortality. Talk about irony. That's
a good point.
Yeah.
I would say, I just wanted to, I don't know if you guys all saw this. I don't know, Nadine, I'm going to send it to you if you haven't seen it. But somebody did create a meme that looks like one of those official White House statements about the farmers, because here's another group, another silo is rural America. Right. Well, it's hard on the farmers. Soybean, it's bad, these tariffs, right? And so someone made something that looks like a official White House statement of like, President Trump is announcing he's going to give $50,000 for the soybean farmers. Just send us your teen and prepubescent daughters to the White House, and he will complete this transaction for you. And they read that on Fox News Live without realizing that it was so. I'm sorry. There's some joy. As horrible as all that crime is, there's just this level of incompetence also makes it ripe for ridicule and setting them up for stuff like this.
The worst part was 20 farmers sent their daughters.
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
Reba McEntire wrote a whole song about it. Here's your one chance, Fancy, don't let me down. Read the lyrics. It's terrifying.
It's like
terrifying.
You be nice to the gentleman, Fancy, and they'll be nice to you. All right.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Well,
number one song, in 1992? Anyway, no, it's since then. All right.
God. Okay, I missed it.
Foggy Ozark, great song. I hear you. It's very catchy.
What is this?
But it's a Reba McEntire song called Fancy. Are you serious? Okay, see, this is
I've never heard this song. I don't really listen to Reba McEntire.
The regional divide. I'm from the South.
Divide.
All right.
Okay.
Read the lyrics.
So now we're going to do announcement. Nadine, can you hang for a little while longer while we do the fifth song?
I got a little bit of mead left.
Okay, nice. How is the mead? How is it?
You know what? It'll hit you right behind the knees, about 8 sips in.
Nice.
Maybe that's why. Maybe Trump was drinking mead when he got out of the car and walked into the restaurant. Yeah, I don't know. Do we have any announcements? Anybody got anything?
I don't know. I do want to say always, let's have everybody's help. We want more subscribers. We do. We want people to join. We want more on the 5.5. We will be doing, as much as we can to remind everybody, subscribe, join, share, share the link with your friends and family and tell them about the show. We're trying to grow our community. So you guys
we appreciate all of you.
We appreciate all of you.
watching.
You're so good to one another. I don't know why anybody wouldn't want to be part of this community. So it's nice. It's like good, nice people, smart people in this that in our audience. So we want more of them. More.
Come join us.
Come join us.
All right, last topic. Hit the timer.
Oh,
hit the timer. It's next. That's the topic. It's next.
Yeah.
And you were saying, LB, because we were trying to decide what the fifth topic was going to be, that you had hope, especially for the this next rising generation, which is the Gen Z and then the Gen Alpha. So, what did you mean by that?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm the mother of a young adult.
Mm-hmm.
Greg, you have 2 young adults.
I do.
Nadine, I don't know the ages there. You've got it's young adult. We put it 14. Okay. So, and not just because they're our kids, right? And I won't speak for your kids, but I speak for my own and my friend and some other young people, my nephews and everything. They're just so smart about all this stuff. Like the other thing about this last 3 days and just being quiet and just watching how people are reacting, it just was so just blatantly obvious that folks, even millennials, but definitely our age and up, Gen, are we Gen X, Greg? I always have to ask you.
How do you not know we're Gen X?
I don't know. I get confused. I can't count. So the Gen X and above, right? If not, like even people in their 40s, how clueless they are about what this whole generation, our kids that we raised, what their experience is like and what they're into. Like even if they're parents, they didn't get like, what's groyper? Stuff like that. And it's like, wow. So, but all the kids know, all our young adults know. And the way, and I saw one of the classmates of the shooter in Utah said, I'm not trying to clout chase here, right? So even they have their terms. They understand the social media culture and the internet culture and how people behave around that. They're like behavioral scientists. They really can identify this stuff very clearly and articulate themselves very clearly, even though it's their own language, which I happen to understand to a certain degree. There's maturity in there. And this young man was like, look, this is what I can say about him. And I'm not trying to make this about me at all, but what I can say about him back then, and it looks like clearly still, is he was a Reddit kid. He was just one of the Reddit kids. Now that we all know that's code for the loner who's just in the forums, who's just like, they're able to assess that. He wasn't being cruel. He wasn't being mean. He wasn't being judgmental. He wasn't being emotional. He just was like, this is a kid probably who every month or so had to go through a mass shooting drill as a child in his classroom and hide and go through that whole thing. Like all of our kids have had to do. There's inflicting that trauma on these kids and also not understanding their world and have them be the primary demographic that has grown up solely in this internet culture. The first one of that, their level of sophistication about those domains and who this sort of new threat is and how to talk about one another is so far beyond anything I heard coming out of any legacy media person or anything I saw from any adult on social media. So it gave me a lot of hope. I was just like, oh, they're together. They get what's going on. And they're facing the very real world that we have left them. The possibility of no jobs, massive student debt, if they can get out from it. Maybe even what they were going for a degree for, that job won't even exist. Poof, it's gone because it's all been, AI'd or whatever. With this changing, shifting landscape of which there's no healthcare for them that they can afford. There's no safety net for them. There's no launch pad for them. other than what they can hustle and put together for themselves. And as crazy as this seems, as a reaction to one of the lost people in that generation being a murderer, and his family's devastation, and by the way, the FBI, no law enforcement found him. His family turned him in, right? So that wasn't the work of Kash Patel's FBI. That was the work of that family unit, knowing what the right thing to do was and how difficult that is. And now their lives shattered forever shattered and defined, and blown apart by that bullet, by that gun. So I believe this generation, they see it. They know guns are the problem. They just have clarity. And we must look like total just clowns, just out of touch, old people, yelling at them about the good old days.
Get off my lawn.
Now, I do think it is our responsibility inside of all of that, and then I want to hear what Nadine has to say, is to keep reminding them it doesn't have to be this way when it comes to government and leadership in these agencies, because they also don't know that. They really, the Biden, we were trying to come out of the pandemic and they were, but they had Trump before, now Trump again. And they don't know, this isn't a generation that really can understand through direct experience. Cognitively, they'll grasp it, but they didn't have the experience of sort of normal, what our expectations are of a government and working professionals, and what maybe our national health is about, what that's about, right? To take care of the health of the citizenry. And that there's professionals who can do that. And you can, without all this misinformation and all this dangerous shit, you don't have to get measles. You don't have to lose your little brother, right? It doesn't have to be this way. Yeah. So I feel like that's our thing to keep that present for them, of like, no, it can be so much better. It was so much better. You can make it so much better. Your generation and your leadership can get there and maybe make stuff new and even better than before. It doesn't have to be our old ways, but this thing that we're living through right now, this is unnecessary. This divisiveness, this violence, this lack of seriousness, the national security threat of having a Kremlin puppet as the head of our of our intelligence, the national security threat and the domestic threat on every single level, and the economic threat of having an absolute batshit crazy, grievance-riddled, groyper, mobster, criminal, fraud, felon, adjudicated rapist as a president. Doesn't have to be that way.
And in fact, not only that, it's not normal. It's not normal. This is not normal. And I keep telling my kids that, and it's just like, you'll see someday, 20 years from now, you'll look back and be like, oh, okay, I understand why Dad was out of his mind, crazy, and why he was screaming on Friday night. Nadine, what do you think?
Oh, well, number one, co-sign completely that the younger generation is not buying into this conservative rhetoric. In fact, the more they were exposed to Charlie Kirk's rhetoric, the more divisive they found it. There was a PRRI survey in June, and it showed that the almost 60% found it not only divisive but harmful to democracy. Less than a third identify as conservative, and they overwhelmingly support the right to protest, social justice. By like they're 25% higher in support of asylum seekers compared to the general public. So, yeah, young people taking leadership right now is a critical part of creating a vision of a future that's irresistible to everyone, where everybody has a stake. And around guns, I'll say something. We just bumped into the regional difference of y'all probably not listening to as much country music as me, but I grew up going to high school where you would see gun racks with rifles in trucks. I did too. Yeah. Right. And it was no big deal.
I did not.
Yeah.
I did not.
Probably because they went hunting before they came to class. and you'd see them getting out of their coveralls, and nobody thought anything about it because it's guns plus grievance. It's guns plus fear. It's guns plus this culture that once you figure out that if I can scare people enough, I can carve out enough of a voting bloc to get into office. And so it is. What is different in my hometown is that there are many more guns. They're not hunters, and they're not. The gun culture is not about sports hunters.
No.
It is about fear and grievance and preparing to stand up against the government. Well, we see pretty clearly, y'all will let anything roll through the cities and sit back. And you are definitely not, keeping those weapons to push back against tyranny. You're more than happy. You're cheering tyranny on. So it is a gun culture, but I think part of the disconnect is that because so many of us grew up in a place where people weren't provoked at all times to go to the grocery store with a long gun, on their back and 3 different other concealed handguns because America. It was a different ethos. And now we're dealing with a gun industry that's learned to just play operation with our brains. You need it. And by the way, the left, you better start getting guns too. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. So
Yeah.
we got to deal with both the prevalence of these weapons that are designed for the unique purpose of killing people with precision and speed, and the culture of fear, grievance, and suspicion that has people shooting somebody through their front door because they stopped knocked on their door because they were lost. And so it is the guns, and it's the guns plus all of this. Yeah, well said. It's also, I'm thinking when you were talking, it's also fantasy. Like there's fantasies that they have about. Remember that there was a woman, and I can't remember who it was, who wrote one of the all-time great Twitter threads about, I'm here and I'm going to protect my family. And she's like, great, go do the laundry. We need the laundry done. And all these things that the guy could be doing to actually protect the family from an actual threat or something that would be, is like, no, I'm just going to stand here guard with my gun. And he's like, we don't need you to do that. We need you to empty the dishwasher, or whatever it was. It's a very, very good thread. I'll never be able to find it. But, that's the thing. It's a fantasy that all of its grievance, the grievance itself is fantasy. Yeah. Even this idea, I was thinking about this, the idea that the left would be responsible for the thing that happened this week. People on the left don't give a shit about that. I mean, it's not somebody that's even on their radar, really.
It's just, I think the fantasy is the perfect word, because that was also the experience just watching. It's like, oh, they're in a conversation with themselves about a monster that they've made up in their bubble. It's like there's a cycle that they create inside their bubble of their fantasy, and to fit and they're so absorbed in it. It's such it's obsessive. Like what I was looking at was like, and reflexive, and it's really immature. It's really just emotionally all over the place, just wild, right? Almost borderline in nature of like, just, this, all this sort of expressing. And then, all the histrionics they accused women of, right? And I was watching these male journalists going, we've got to kill them all. I'm like, calm down, Sarah, Sam, calm down. It's going to be okay. Baby. But I also think, in terms of next generation, this also is all everyone's gonna see how quickly we just roll on past this. Yeah. It's not necessarily going to be Waco turning into the OKC bombing, right? Some of this stuff it's destined to fall apart. Yeah. It's destined to fall apart. because it's unsustainable.
Well
Yeah.
said. Yeah. Shout out, by the way, Gen Z, because I have my son's Billie Eilish sweatshirt on, so that's what I'm wearing for the occasion. Well, this has been great, guys. Nadine, thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining us tonight. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I know this has been it's a rough week, and I feel better. I have to say, I felt pretty shitty when I 2 hours ago. So hopefully everybody else does too. Because I guess I don't know what if we feel better. What LB? I don't know.
Well, then we just know we're going to get through it.
There you go.
I guess we're going to get through.